time to bring in Dalen Cuff, who will hopefully provide us with one or two little nuggets of betting information that might help us win some money this season. But not just the Premier League. We're going to look ahead with Dalen and Rob Palmer coming up as well to La Liga and Bundesliga and other leagues as well. So first of all, welcome, Dalen. Now, anyone joining us doesn't realize what goes on. They see a box right now with 4 talking heads. We need to know where this pussycat is that you were desperately trying to chase around a house before you came on air. Then we need to know, is that pussycat safely away so it's not going to make any meow noises during your segment here?
Let's be honest, her little paw keeps coming under the door here. So it's if you hear some meowing, it's fine. It's in the rest of the house. I'm in a bedroom for the audience, just a friend's house. We'll simplify it. Nobody's here, and I'm allergic to cats, so I'm not touching the cat. So we got a lot of things happening.
So, look, Stevie and animals, it's like a menagerie in his house. If you hear a noise, then it's just common. But if you do hear a meow, it could be today from Dalen's house. Now, we'll not talk about animals anymore. I just quickly want to talk about any team that's value right now as far as odds are concerned. Because Manchester City, you're probably not going to get rich backing them. Have you found a way to get some value in this Premier League title race?
I will say City right now, their variance is really big. You're seeing them at minus 160. So for the audience that doesn't know what that means, you bet $100, you have to bet at $160 to win 100. So you're getting less than half. You're 2-1 on your money, or 1-1 on your money, excuse me. But you see them on like DraftKings, they're minus 125. So that's not that bad. The juice isn't that bad if you really are a believer in City. I'm not going to mess with that. My favorite bet right now is, and I'm saying this as an Arsenal supporter, I get it. You can say it's biased, but I think a lot of us feel that this team is going to be second or compete for the title all the way through for all 38 games, as opposed to falling short like they did last year with City. If you take them to win the top 2, they're at plus 165. You take them to win it all, they're plus 450. So it's 4.5 times your money. That's saying they're going to beat City. I like them to be in the top 2 because that allows the error to not beat City but finish second. There's also a bet you could have winner without City, but then that brings other teams like Liverpool and United if they finish ahead of them, and somehow City finished third. I don't know how that'd be possible. You still lose your bet. So I like Arsenal to finish in the top 2, plus 160 is one of my favorite bets in terms of futures right now.
Dale, while we continue the betting chat, I remember way back when Stevie was in his 50s, when you used to be able to go to the betting shop and you would be able to pick a time for a goal to be scored. And 81 to 90 was always a decent time to bet. But these days, especially this season, when we're probably going to have plus 9, plus 10, plus 11 minutes added, simplify it for us. What has changed between last season and this season with regards to added time that we might expect to see this year?
Yeah, so one of the main changes is all goal celebrations will now be added up exactly, and it used to be around 30 seconds was given for a goal celebration. Now, if we take the Community Shield at the weekend, the celebration for Cole Palmer's goal was a minute and 15 seconds. So if you keep adding all this extra time, it's going to go to a longer game. But it's also about really adding on the proper stoppages when players kick the ball away, when goalkeepers take too long to do restarts, and also the exact time on substitutions. And this is all going to add up over time. Now, in the EFL at the weekend, we saw some really long matches. There was one game that had 22 minutes injury time across the 2 halves. Now, Howard Webb, who's in charge of the referees for the Premier League and for the EFL, he said that will come down a bit. The referees spent a little bit too much time being too precise around the free kicks and around yellow cards. So that will come down. And he reckons, based on the methodology that they're looking at, the average added time in the Premier League last year was 8 minutes and 22 seconds, and it will be 11 minutes and 23 seconds this year. So you're talking about an extra 3 minutes per game. Now, obviously, this is going to take some time. People are going to have to get used to how it's going in terms of the players and the referees. They're going to have to really nail this down. So everyone's going to have to adapt to it. And the hope is that as the season goes on, it changes behaviours and players act quicker, and they also spend time with things like kicking the ball away, and eventually you end up with more time with the ball in play, but with not as much added time as we may see in the opening weeks.
Yeah, but it's a change that Pep Guardiola has not welcomed. And when he met the press yesterday prior to their game at Burnley this afternoon, which we'll preview shortly, he's not too happy with the extension to the added time in games this season.
At the end, with 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes every game, it's like you are going to play 3 more games at the end of the season. We are going to play 41 games this season, not 38. 41, that's for sure. So when it's a lot with on the games, because I said many times, our players, I defend my players, when I go international break, they go to the national team and they play 100 minutes, 100 minutes. And I said, okay, you play 50, 60, 70 games, it's okay, but that you have 2 months off, or have 3 months off, or you have time to recover mentally. But it's not the case. We have just 2-3 weeks, and it's not enough for that. And next season, World Cup, is 2 more weeks. We finish the season, the Champions League final, or FA Cup final, is 2 more weeks in the United States of America to play there. They finish, I would say, maybe mid of July. On 5 August is play the Community Shield, the first game of the season. How are you going to rest to the players? And for that, we have to do, it had to be 40 players.
Got a point. I suppose we could spend a lot of time talking about that. We won't. I want to quickly look ahead to Burnley Man City, Stevie, and did we see the manager of the title winners once again there this season? What do you reckon? Is it City's to lose? Have you got any surprise packages that you reckon might be up there and might eclipse Manchester City, Stevie?
No, I don't think it's City's to lose. Arsenal showed last year that they can push City. Previous season, Liverpool have shown they can push City. There's always a surprise somewhere. Maybe Newcastle could be the team this year. I mean, the one thing we know is that the Premier League's not a pushover. Whoever wins the Premier League absolutely deserves to win it. Now, we right now are sitting talking about a Man City team who last year were clearly the best side, and just thinking about the starting 11 they still have, we see no reason why they won't step on the field and be favourites to win every game. But football doesn't work that way. Things happen, injuries happen, some players lose form. The one thing I would say, and one of the biggest reasons why I think City are still favourites and the team really that you have to beat is because of the manager. It's very easy as players to sometimes sit on your laurels, take a day off now and again, pat yourself on the back maybe, depending on what sort of attitude you have. But with this guy in charge, that doesn't happen at City. So City are not going to lose the Premier League title because of a bad attitude or bad preparation or any of those things. It's going to be down to the little things that do happen during the course of a season to even the best teams. As I said, things like injuries or an offside call that goes the other way. Just those sort of little foibles that happen in football is what's going to beat City, not the attitude and certainly not the talent.
Dalen, realistically, how many teams are competing for the top 4 this season? And realistically, how many spots in the top 4 are available if you consider Man United and Arsenal and Liverpool and potentially Man United? Who else?
I really do think Liverpool, obviously you guys touched on Caicedo. If he goes there and that, I think that solidifies them, as to Stevie's point earlier, I think they might be competing it would be a 3-horse race really to win the title. So that's 3 or 4 spots right there. I like what United has done. If Højlund can slot it in and be a more productive striker, still a young player, it's a lot on his shoulders if he's going to actually play through the middle of that team. I like what they've done in some other movement throughout the group, and obviously the goalkeeper situation, that they look like the 4th team in there. Newcastle, I think they've got good odds. They're on the outside looking in. You can get them at the top 4 around plus 150. Not a bad play. We saw how good they were last year. I do think it's different when you put them in the Champions League situation. Now that squad has to be stretched more thin and competing at a higher level to get in that top 4 is going to be very difficult. I don't think Chelsea's in the fray. I don't think Tottenham's in the fray. Obviously, with Harry Kane being sold to Bayern, as we talked about, it seems like that happens. So really, I think it's really a 5-team race for those 4 spots. And one of my things I really like from a top 6 perspective, from a betting standpoint, I really like what Villa's done in the offseason. They had a good campaign last year, and they're really good value right now. They're plus 200 to get into that 6th spot. And I'm pretty out on Chelsea. They're heavy favorites to get in the top 6. I don't like that bet. I don't like them. And I don't think Spurs are going to be there either. So I think really it's going to be an opportunity for Villa and a good value play at plus 200 to get them in the top 6. That's something that's very interesting to me.
I think that's a fantastic shout. Aston Villa, they could be last season's Brighton and really push for a top 6 place. Dalen, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you can be a part of our thrice weekly ESPN FC live show with a look ahead not just in the Premier League as well, but La Liga and Bundesliga and all the other leagues with your betting knowledge, I suppose, and hopefully give us an opportunity to make some money. So thank you for that.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.